knowing how to create opportunity opened up a world to me. I suddenly realized I could make my dreams come true. I could set the goal, break it up into smaller parts, and then just put the timeline and start working it. But the other thing she taught me that was so important, she said, never leave the side of a sale until you've heard no 3 times. And as a young kid, being raised in a predominantly Spanish-speaking household, all my grandparents are from Mexico, you know, children are not supposed to talk to adults, they're supposed to be quiet, cállate. And so, you know, it was easy at first to sell to my family and people in church, but then I was going to have to do something I had never done, which was talk to adults before they talked to me. And so I finally got the courage and went and talked, asked my neighbor, you know, that woman that you see running in and out of her car, but I'd never said hello to. I went to her and I said, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? And she looked at me and she said, no. And I stood there in place. I kept thinking, this thought bubble over my head. Troop leader Mrs. Provine said, never leave the side of a sill until you've heard no 3 times. So I look around her and I said, is there anybody else at home that would want to buy Girl Scout cookies? And she looked at me and she said, no. Now at this point, she's looking at me like, no, leave, little girl. And I stood there rooted in place. And finally I said, would there be anybody's day you would make if you bought some Girl Scout cookies? And she relented and she bought 1 box. And that taught me the importance of persistence, resilience. And at a very young age, while in elementary school, I began working that muscle of persistence, resilience, turning those no's into yeses. So that when I was in high school and sitting in the counselor's lounge, where I'd signed up for college counseling, and the counselor opened the door, looked at me and said, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here to go to college. She looks at me and says, girls like you don't go to college. And what was that to me? That was my first no. I stood up, walked into her office. Then she said, all right, so what do you want to study? And I said, I want to be an engineer. And she laughed. She laughed and said, girls like you, girls aren't engineers. And you know what? I went on and became a rocket scientist at NASA, working it was an amazing opportunity to work on NASA's JPL. And as I like to, if any of you watch The Big Bang Theory, there's this guy Wolowitz, and he's always talking about the nerds at JPL. Well, I was one of those nerds at JPL. And, you know, as an on to that, one of the great things about being a Girl Scout CEO is you get your own patch. And my patch tells the story and it's not a cookie on my patch, it's actually the planet Jupiter. It's got a rocket, because I earned my first science badge, making a SD's rocket. And there's an homage of this troop leaders, these stars, and another star for my mother. But when I give this patch to girls, I say, this was my dream, and your dreams can come true. To look at that patch and to say, what is my dream? What do I want to accomplish?